Akeluami. Olokungwa.
We live, family.
Hello.
Peace and blessings.
Mm-hmm.
So how y'all feeling today?
Good. Always good. 6 feet above the ground, I'm good.
Yeah.
I know that's right. What about you, Ifamo Dubois? Are you getting rest?
Huh?
Are you getting rest?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You said I got off the phone with you last night, so I can go lay down.
That's why I said you getting rest.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
about you, sis? How you feeling this morning?
Great. I just feel so great. Like I'm just ready for this conversation today. So I can
Okay.
learn some stuff. As I do every day. So I know yesterday Sister LaDonna said if we could talk about some of the orishas that we should be or deities that we should be maybe focusing on now, that we're in this time. I thought that was a very, very good question that she asked. And I'm looking forward to that, to learning myself. And before we came live on here, I remember we had to switch over and start the show. You had talked about, Colette, about the history of the police, and then Sister Modupe followed up and said, "Well, what do you know about? Was it a Chelsea? What did you say?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Chelsea.
Chelsea and the police, their relationship.
Right on.
Well, I don't know. I can't tell you which Odu. That's not my thing. I'm not as well versed on that as I should be. However, my understanding of Ochosi is yes, he's connected with the police, but his job is more justice. And I think when you say police and many Black people hear the word, it's not, justice is not what comes to mind, I would say, at least not for me. And that's years that's been, I have never been one that equates the police with justice. It just
Okay.
never has been my frame of reference because I've never seen them as a just group of people when it comes to working with my people. I haven't seen any justice. So that's my connection of Achosi. He's the one that I go to when I've got to go into court, and not so much on a civil claim or action, but more on a criminal claim or action. I petition Ochosi. And I must say, I petition all my warriors at that time because I'm at war. I'm at war. I'm going into court. It ain't nothing in court that's going to be good to me, as far as I know. So, but that's as far as it goes. That for me and Ochosi, I don't see him. I don't connect him with the police other than through. Um, there's something that has been done that's bringing them to my door, um, and it's not good. And he will help me to find justice or to get justice. Do you know anything further about him? And that I know he
Uh,
shoots that arrow and he shoots it straight.
yeah. Like I think it's the spirit of the tracker,
Yes, in the
right?
yeah, he can track you
Uh-huh.
down. He'll
And
track you
that's the
down.
part that the police have been able to activate. But also, it's not there. It's so. I the way I look at Orisha energy being a practitioner is like when it comes to things like that. So you have the police, which are not our allies, using the energy that is our energy. Well, I feel like the Orishas belong to us.
Oh,
And
me
so,
too.
this is for us to be able to activate that energy. The spirit of the tracker will also have us move differently in a way that we can't be tracked, that our movements can't be tracked.
Okay, okay,
Does that
okay.
make sense?
Yes, 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 yes. And
Mhm.
when I say justice, that's a part of justice. It's not
It
only
is.
in the
It is.
court. It's not only in the
Hmm.
court. It's
Yeah.
in your whole life. So
Right. Right.
there are a lot of people. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so glad you touched on that because
Yeah.
you can get away from the police or be invisible to the police. That's getting away
Hmm.
um, through petitioning Ochosi.
Yeah.
Uh, if
Which
you
may
are,
become increasingly important as time passes.
yes, but this is if you are without fault. Now, because see, don't forget he stands for justice. So you
Right.
can't be making a great big dope deal for $3 million, and you got a bag with $3 million. The other person got a bag with $3 million worth of dope, and you ask Ochosi to put that ain't gonna work.
Well,
That
see, that's the thing. Like, I think that I don't recommend it. So I know having been initiated to Ifa, that there's the issue of character is part of the oath of my initiation, right? For
mm-hmm,
Orishas, it's a little different. Like, they don't have as many set in stone boundaries, we'll say. What they have is a power that has two sides to it, right? This is my understanding.
mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
each of their specific power um, there's two sides to the coin, right?
Yeah,
So
always.
I've seen Oshosi activated for um, some unsavory dealings, we'll say, you know, or
Oh
people
my.
that were, yeah, maybe trying to evade the police for things that they actually did that were legitimately illegal. And so, you know what I mean? I've seen that happen. So I have to say, I don't know that it's I know that I think that's more based on an individual thing, and also because there's the issue of character that we deal with, and then not everybody deals with it in the same regard. Like, there are some things that I think Orisha initiates can more likely get away with, and when I say get away, I mean come out of for the most part unscathed, where if we were to try to do that same work, it might not go as well for us. The repercussions may be a little bit different because of the Ifa initiation and the oath regarding character. So I'm not recommending it. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like, I think in the whole tradition of Isheshe, like, people should be concerned about their character, right?
yes.
They should. But we know that there are people using ritual in the tradition to get away with things that are not that don't fall under the umbrella of good character. In other words, they're doing things that ultimately harm other people.
Okay. Now, that being said, however, never forget that nothing in life is free, not even the work that you do with the deities. And
Yes, that's true.
you might not get caught exchanging them bags of drugs or killing somebody or whatever it is that you have been shielded uh, from for that particular in that particular instance. But let me tell you,
Hmm.
something's coming your way because you pay. You pay,
Yeah.
you pay.
Yeah.
And even if you don't pay in this lifetime, which may or may not happen, somebody's going to pay, and it might be your child.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you may bring that back with you when you come for your next go round. Or that may be fallout from the last go round. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on with us spiritually. Everything happens in the spiritual realm before it happens in the physical realm anyway.
Right.
And so, yes, Ochosi or any of the deities for the most part, because they all have several roads. They have different personalities, different sides to their personalities. So, yeah, you may cover yourself in Ochosi's good graces for this particular deal, but don't think it's going unnoticed. Because then you got Eshu,
Yeah.
who might come into the party.
Well, Eshu's a part of every party.
You hear him? You hear him? He just shot the sheriff.
Eshu is a part of every party. You don't escape that.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yeah.
yes, we can do that. You can do that. Look what happened with you and Oshu when that guy, the story you told yesterday.
Yeah.
She covered you, but she covered you for several reasons, I'm sure. But also so that you could learn the lesson that you needed to learn. So maybe the next time when trouble really did come, you were able to avoid it because you had that experience. You weren't drinking with somebody that's 6'2" and 250 pounds that you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was not the brightest star in the sky.
No, but I'm just saying.
It's not one of my finer moments, I'll say.
But that's okay. I mean, shoot.
Yeah,
That's
I don't feel no way about it. It just
No.
is something that happened. Like we go through things in our life and we learn. Like I think that we put significance on events and they don't necessarily be as significant as we make them. And then or we may focus on the wrong part of the event. That's not the real gem of it. You know what I mean? You can go through something very simple and it will impact you greatly if you're paying attention like that, right?
Yes.
Life doesn't have to be hard, even though it can be very tumultuous at times, like everything that we're going through now. But a lot of people are experiencing, they're getting a little lift right now. They're starting to catch the feel, the texture of what would happen if we actually were without, the oppression that we're living under right now. They're starting to catch a little glimpse of it within themselves of what that might be like. What would we want in place of this?
Yes.
What do we want to have for ourselves? Who can we actually be? If I didn't have to tap dance for masses' approval, what would I be doing instead? You know what I mean? Those are the kind of questions that people are. So even in the most tumultuous times, like they're gems for us. That's how every coin has two sides, right? So it's what you focus on that will begin to grow in your life and in your being. And so you can be with, deal with, and withstand everything that is happening around you.
Yeah. You mentioned something yesterday that I think was very important and very cutting edge. And something that I don't think we've really given very much thought to. And that is that as females, allowing males to treat us the way that they have, contributing to their deaths,
Mm.
to their demise.
Yeah.
Now, that caused me to pause. That gave me pause to look at my own self. You know, and for me, that the whole point in talking about things is so that I can grow as a human being and a spiritual being. And so that made me start asking myself questions. As a mother, have
Mhm.
I fed into that in any way? And if I have, what am I prepared to do about it? And as a wife, or
What happened? Are you muted? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I wasn't muted. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
So she's frozen. So she probably has to come back out, go back out and come back in again. And then Sister Joy King said, can only get on via the phone. I don't know how to do it the phone way. Because I do miss her knowledge.
Not
Wisdom,
Zoom.
real. Okay, hold on a
Huh?
minute. Hold on. I think we got her back. Hold on.
Okay.
yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Don't ask. Don't ask. I won't tell.
Okay.
And what I was saying, as a wife or a girlfriend or a partner, I have to start looking at that in myself as well. And just as a woman dealing with other women, and what I say, what has come out of my mouth, um, how have I contributed? What have I contributed to this situation that we find ourselves in? And what am I prepared to change within myself to
Yeah.
get rid of that behavior, acknowledge it, get rid of it, and put in place the new? And I think if we all look at it from that point of view, not to point fingers at each other, but to examine ourselves, do some self examination, and make the change.
Yeah.
But thank you for that from yesterday, because I think that that's something that we all have to look at. We're not going to be free just because we get rid of the white man. He could go tomorrow. We still got to figure out what the hell are we doing with each other.
Right on.
Right. We're going to have to figure out what the hell we're doing at all. Because half the stuff that we do is in response to the paradigm that we're in.
Yes.
And so, when we really start thinking about taking our lives down to the studs and rebuilding, like what does that look like? And then not just collectively, but individually as well. Like if you don't have, I don't know, I feel like there's some questions that we need to ask ourselves, and we need to really begin to examine what we believe and why, and if it's serving us and why it might not be serving us, what's holding us back, who do we come here to be, what are our desires, what are our true desires. Like a lot of times we'll talk ourselves out of the things that are most dear to us because we just don't see any way that it's possible. And a lot of what we see is defined by the racism that we live with in that we're in existence with at this time. And so if some of that starts to be chipped away, then and we see the possibility of ourselves materializing in full fruition. Like that was the reason why I even pursued the traditions so hard when I first became a devotee is because I started to see possibility for myself. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was under a lot of weight of, I guess, the trauma that I had experienced
Mhm.
personally, but
Mhm.
also see that Black people were under like a wet blanket. You
Mhm.
know, I mean,
Mhm.
that's how it felt to me. Like we just lived under a wet blanket, and we're like, "Oh, it smells in here, but that's okay. Let's just get used to it. Let's burn some incense. Oh, let's, you know what I mean? Like we just kind of like moving slowly underneath this whole thing that's really heavy and uncomfortable." And I remember visiting the South when I was about 19, and what the thing that struck me was that nobody really stood straight up. Like everybody walked a little bit hunched over, and that they didn't look white people in the face. Like white people walk by, they put their head down and all. And I was like, what in the world? Like, why? Why is this? And I mean, it was happening everywhere I went. And I was in Louisiana. And I did go to Georgia on that trip too. And it just hurt my heart. Like, I was like, I don't ever want to go back to the South.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so but to get back to what you're talking about, a lot of times we are complicit in our own demise.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We do things without thinking. Yeah, that enable people to hurt us and
Mhm.
each other, and then and also to hurt ourselves. Like, I understand that that romantic relationships are hardly charged, but you have to have boundaries. And the reason why people don't have clear boundaries is because they don't think that they deserve to be respected. But that doesn't mean that the spirits that are rocking with you don't feel like you need to be respected. That don't mean that your Ori don't feel that way, that your ancestors feel that way. Like you might be you might be related to the Iami. You might have, you know what I mean? Your Orisha parents may be offended by, you know what I mean? It's just a lot
Yes.
going on with us that if you let somebody disrespect you, then they are then subject to that as well. It's not just what you could do to him. Oh, I can't fight him. I just gotta let him talk to that. So it's either gonna hurt you or it's gonna hurt them.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
we let um, our own insecurities run our relationships, then we stand to really cause great harm in the world. Same thing with children.
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
don't think that you're worth anything, then you start treating your children like they ain't worth nothing either because they came from you.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
they may be the ones that rise up and make something out of your bloodline for that generation. And you telling them that they don't have that they're not capable of doing that. And you've offended their Ori.
Mhm. Mhm.
Depending on
Yes.
how they're spiritually equipped when they came to earth, that could cost you.
Mhm.
You wonder why your car breaking down and you losing your job, can't keep no, and that's another thing. Like I
Yes.
know women with and myself, I've experienced this too. That when you're dating someone, I hate to say this on the air, but you dating someone and you got question marks, in your own mind about the appropriateness of the relationship, and then stuff starts to happen to them.
Mhm.
They'll have an accident. They'll lose their job. Their car will break down. That's really what I was talking about. Like, you could be the reason why somebody's whole life goes down because you know that person didn't have no business with you,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you just kind
Uh,
of let it happen.
and sometimes that person knows they have no business with you themselves.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
See,
You know,
uh,
my mom
that.
always told me if a man acts like if he keeps saying he don't deserve you and acting and
He don't.
I don't deserve you. You so wonderful. He doesn't deserve you.
No, he don't deserve
Probably
it.
just move on. He's gonna prove it to you. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't believe him when he says it, he's going to prove it to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the same thing goes, same thing vice versa, or in any kind of relationship. So yeah, that's another
Now,
thing that yeah.
what about the protection? We always go to Oya. Yes, we do. But what about the protection from Oshun? Oshun is a great protector.
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
And
she's a great
so
protector.
so is Ye Maya.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, as a matter of fact, I don't think that you will find. Hey there, Ye. How you be? Can she hear me?
I don't know if she's
Hey.
saying hi. I think she's waving.
Oh, she might have some more insight on Ochosi. Can you hear us?
Oh, I can hear you fine now.
Yep,
Oh,
I can hear
good,
you
good.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, Colette, could you just slide over just a little bit? There you go. Bam. So you don't have that in your face. Okay, good. You're perfect.
Oh, okay.
People can get on with this. Go ahead.
On
Um,
Oshowski, fill me in. Because I've been trying to get my Wi-Fi back
We're
up.
talking about Oshosi as protection from the police because of the spirit of the tracker, but we were trying to get more in the details of the relationship so people really understand it.
Okay, Oshowski is the guard or one of the chief priests for the Obatala Temple in Ile-Ife. So, in the sense of being able to take care of and to protect, and what it does for in the pantheon of Ifa and Orisha, it is to protect the people of, and I think that's where the association comes in too, from how people in our tradition, even on this side of the water, feel about Ashosa. Ashosa is also, in that same vein, is the quickest way of entering into the understanding of your destiny. So it provides quick results into situations concerning destiny issues. So that's another part of the job of Oshosi. But the idea of Oshosi being that deity that is making sure that morality and humility and all those other things that are represented by Obatala are carried through in terms of the law. So actually, who's closer, surprisingly, who is actually closer to a better understanding of um, serve and protect is actually Eshu. Eshu, from a traditional sense, yeah, Eshu.
mm-hmm,
Eshu is
mm-hmm.
for justice. He's absolutely for justice. So it's, not just us, but justice. So he's the one that that really is on that side of choice. You can do or you cannot do one or the other. Okay. But it is also up to you to do. Make a decision. Are you going to do what is right or are you going to do what's wrong? So in that instance, that's where Eshu falls into that category. It's there's no tricking or anything like that. Eshu is strictly about you carrying out what your choices are. Oshosi, on the other hand, is going to serve and protect in the sense of morality, humility, and other things like that that are about developing spiritual and human elevation. So that's another aspect. That's a totally different aspect of how we see Oshosi as the popo. Okay. Um, in that sense, but to a larger sense, it is about that elevation. He protects your right to elevate. He protects your right to be humble and to have humility. He protects your right for your destiny. Where are you going in your destiny? This is what you got to do for your destiny. He's going to protect your right to do that. And that's actually how we see Oshosi in a traditional sense. That
Ifeoma
makes
Dukwe,
sense?
yeah, Ifeoma Dukwe, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. That makes perfect sense for what you said, that he was able to cover these people. It may have been that in whatever they were doing, that was part of their destiny. And so
Yeah.
Oshosi made it possible for them to perform whatever thing they performed, whatever they were doing. Oshosi made it possible so that they could fulfill their destiny. So
Yeah,
in
because whatever they were doing um brought them directly to a priest. You know what I mean?
mm,
It had reached such a fever pitch that they had to seek out the help of a priest. So they came running to the Orishas basically. And that it was not just Oshosi, it was,
mm,
Oshosi, Ogun, and Eshu.
mm,
So that does help me understand, because my other question was in regard to protection of, because we're talking about things, people looking at the Orishas as protection during this time. The relationship between Oshosi and Oya.
mm,
Okay. Well, you have to remember they had a personal relationship. She was the only
Mm-hmm.
one that had children for him. She didn't
Okay.
have children for Shango. She did not have children for Ogun. She had children for Oshosi.
Mm.
Okay. So that's there's a wide difference between what we see, and again, we're also talking about force, where
Yeah.
sometimes we look at it as we're personifying the relationships, but in essence they're forces that we're dealing with. Okay.
Right.
So when we look at the contract of a force or the marriage of a force, it's like, if you see the storm, you see lightning, you're going to see the winds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We automatically assume Oya is the wind. Okay. But we forget that Oya is also a water deity. Okay.
Yes.
So she's a water deity. She's not, she has more things involved with her, but she has that relationship where the rains come through Shango. Okay. In that instance, and she also helps to magnify situations
Mm.
through helping him with the situation at hand. Her
Okay.
relationship with Oshosi is the story that we see. It's out of Osagunda. So we see that relationship in that he discovered her true identity as a
Oh.
shapeshifter, and he
Okay.
blackmailed her, okay, into becoming his wife and
Oh.
setting that contract between the two of them, okay. He put her in a household where there were people, other wives, that were jealous of her, okay, because she was an extraordinary being, okay, being a shapeshifter. So she could shift out into an animal form, or she can shift into a human
Mhm.
form. Okay. So
Okay.
the people of the household always wanted to know that who is this woman? Okay. But Oshosi could not tell because he had a contract with her, never to reveal her true identity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She gave him children, she gave him home. Okay. He had a brother who was very jealous. Okay. And that brother conspired with the wives to find out who was this strange woman in the household who gave him all these children. Okay. Who made him happy. And so the brother got him drunk. Okay. And he spilled the story of how he
Oh,
found her and discovered her hiding place and told his brother where the skin that she shifted into was. Okay. When they found her skin, they tried to kill her. Once they
oh,
tried to kill her, she was able to ascertain the skin, put it on, and she destroyed her enemies. And
okay.
as Ashosi was waking up from what stupor he was in, said, you know, hold up, don't kill me because you and I have a relationship. Okay. This is where the horn comes off in tradition. Okay. We all know the story where she
Mm-hmm.
takes one of her horns off and she gives it to her children because they were so
Mm-hmm.
frightened because they never saw her shifting side. They never saw her rage. They never saw
Yeah.
her anger. They always saw her human, very loving, kind mother side. Okay. And with that, she said, whenever you need me, call me. And then she left the household and went back to her other world. So
Mm.
again, we're talking about a shifting. Okay, that's what she
Mm-hmm.
does. She shifts between the elements. Okay, she shifts between the understanding of what those elements are. All right. So with that, she was and is a kind and considerable mother. But when you make her or make her have to protect not only herself but her children, then at the end of the day, she becomes your worst nightmare. Anybody's worst nightmare. Whoever loves a hurricane, okay, who loves a tornado, okay. So the cyclones, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the relationship between Oshosi and he was the only one that was able to give her children, okay.
So, Sister Donna asked about
Okay.
um, Yeye's in regards to this is Kuti, who wears a skirt of knives. Do y'all know anything about that?
The story of
She said Yemaya Okoti.
Okay.
Akute,
Yeah.
Akute, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about her?
Is she someone that we should be looking forward to in terms of protection during this time? Because that was the overall, what Orisha should we be making offerings to or looking to during this time for protection to fight on your behalf and all that great stuff?
Well, instead of chopping it up, you could look at on the whole, Yemanjai is an extraordinary deity. In that we have to look at the fact that she is the Ogun River. Okay. Um, One of the other things about her relationship in protection is Yemonja is extremely protective of her children. Okay. Usually, the deities that had children late in life were the ones that that you could actually see had those kind of strong relationships. Um,
Mm.
she was one of those. She had children late in life. With the pouring out, you also have to remember the Ogun River is in Abeokuta, okay, but it also flows directly into
Into
the
the
ocean,
ocean.
okay. which is why so many people looked at this, as a ocean deity. She's not an ocean deity. She's actually a deity of the Ogun River. However, okay, when you're talking about the people who were captured out of that
Mm-hmm.
period of time,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
especially
Mm-hmm.
in the Abeokuta region or in Nigeria, period. And they had to make that trip when they saw the mouth of this open into this great mass of water. And also remembering that there's only 900 miles. That's like a trip from Sacramento to LA, okay, to Brazil, okay? So when you talk about first slave ports, first captive ports, then you're looking at those people going in from the ships to Brazil. Then they're finding that this is why the Brazilians love Yemunja, so those that were able to get her,
Yes.
and they have her protection. She protected her children and brought them to safety, and so this one of the things that we have to take into consideration. She protected them along the way,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to make it to a safe port, where eventually the religious practices grew and were extremely strong in Brazil, and coming up the going south, going up north, going west. Okay, we start looking at how dynamic Yemenja's worship really turned out to be. But those people were coming from those areas. Okay, we also have to look at K2. Okay, even though K2 is a stronghold for Asia, but in the Abeokuta region, that's where the worship of Yemunja is the strongest. So a lot of her people were the ones that were captured. Okay. Um, the You have to also look at um how protective she is. Okay. She will drown people.
Yes,
Okay.
she will.
She will drown people who will hurt her children. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at how that, when you call upon Yemunja, Yemunja comes. She's not one that lingers when her children call. She's right there on the spot. Okay. Um, I have a kind of love for her anyway. So a real kind of love relationship, even though Oshun and Olokum is my deity too, but it's like Yemoja has a particular fine place in my heart. Um, Not only because of her strength, but that even the slightest thing that her children, I give you case in point. When there was I was in Chicago and there was a um, bembe that I had to go to. Um, and one of the people that spoke to me during the course of that bembe in Eligoon that was in possession was a Eligoon priest of Yemonja, who told me about how because I'm a latchkey mother, so I had to leave my son in the house. He was 13, well, no, 12, 13 years old, somewhere in there, at home while I had to go to work. And she was very upset because he didn't want to be in the house by himself. I'm working midnights to the morning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so Yemunjah spoke of his prayer and his fear, which nobody knew about but Yemunjah. Okay. And at that point, I had to find and make the sacrifice to get a babysitter at night for my son. But that came up in when that Eligoon took was in possession. So her relationship to children and that protection is extreme.
Yes.
Okay. Mind you, my son survived it. He's there, he'll be 34 soon. But either way, you
Mm.
know, um,
She also takes those. Sometimes she takes those children to her, and I'm speaking from the standpoint of an incident that happened with me and my son. She will take them for whatever reason that she has, but if you petition her, she'll give them back if you're lucky, because that's
mhm,
what happened to me. She took him. He was for all intents and purposes he was gone, but I was under there scrambling, under the water scrambling
mhm.
for him, and she sent him back to me. Now I'm not sure. Uh, well, I am sure. But anyway, I still wonder about if he is blessed by her in some way. Well, I know he's blessed by. I know I'm blessed by her in some way because she sent him back to me, and I'm very grateful for that. But then years later, my cousin, who is a Baba, had his own house. He's gone now. Um, the same thing happened to him. So
Mhm.
then that made me start wondering, is this something that happens in our family, in our line, in our bloodline?
You could have
Uh,
had that divine. You
I
could have
know.
that divine to find out,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
find out exactly how that, because if it's happening over and over again, there's a greater possibility that that is something that needs to be cleaned up in your lineage because it might come back again.
Yes.
Okay. So that's something to, for me, I'm constantly checking the, especially on situations like that with our family.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, we're predominantly a water-based family. Okay, we have a lot of water deities in our lineage. The other side of that is that we have Egbe and Egungun. So those two elements of um, are, in terms of deities and things that we worship in our family, to include Shango, because Shango's on my head, as well as a local. Okay, I'm initiated to a local as well. So um, I have to look at what's going on in my family on a regular to make sure that we are following not only our blueprint for our destiny, but to clean up any kind of things that could impact future generations. Yeah, because I have a lot of great grandchildren and now a great great grandchild. By being blessed to see them, I have to
Yes.
look at, hold up, what's going to happen with these kids when I'm not here? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what protections can I put in place now to make sure that they not only survive, but they thrive? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's the constant push behind any energy that I'm doing is to make sure that these kids have, that they can survive,
Mm-hmm.
that they can thrive in being, because we're in a hostile place. This isn't a place that, that loves us. Okay.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm going to make sure that my kids go win. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hands down, they're going to win. Now they may not like how I do it, okay, but I'm always going to follow Ifa. I'm always going to follow Orisha. That tells me the script, and in that script, as long as I know I'm following the protocols, then I know they're going to be good. So
Mm-hmm.
that might be something that you want to look at in terms of discovering, is this an epway that may have been put on the family before they left, um, the homeland. Okay.
Yeah.
If so, what is necessary to do to move that energy off of the family so that we don't get, picked
A
up in
repeat.
riptides or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So, and is there a family deity that we're supposed to be following? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to look at that. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then what celebrations do we need to do in order to make sure that we're okay? Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because that's the other part of that. What other kind of celebrations? Because we have Oduns here. We have our annual Odun. I have Shango Odun. We have different celebrations throughout the year to make sure that we are covered in how we are serving Orisha and Ifa.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Doing so, we're extending that. We do all the ebos that come out of all the readings, and we do readings on a regular basis. If I have a dream or a vision that tells me, hold up, there's something going on over here. Let me, meditate to find out what's going on. Then I go, because we're supposed to, as Ifa priests, we deliberate first. We think
Mhm.
about it. We meditate on it. And then we
Mhm.
cast Ifa. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once we do that, then we find out the information that we're supposed to do. And then if it's a problem, move the problem. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, we do all those different things in order to make sure that we're good.
Yeah. Thank you, Yeye, for that because my cousin, who he's gone now. Guess this must be 2, 3 years or so.
Mhm.
Um, yes, going on 3 years. The end of this month, or begin July 1st. Anyway, that's the work that he was going to do when he came back from Cuba, but he never came back. I mean,
Um,
he never came back. So,
mhm.
yeah, that's something that I brought up here so that you could give me the instructions you just gave me, and I can get on to doing what he's probably saying. Get your butt in gear, sister. Thank you.
So
Okay.
our closing question will be, Madonna says, how do we activate our ancestral altars to add energy to the collective? We are marching for civil and human rights and freedoms right now.
Hmm.
Okay.
Our closing question.
Okay. One of the things, you got two elements that make it easier, okay, to activate a shrine. First element is to have a certified priest to activate a shrine. Okay. That's one way. If you Because there's a difference between a altar that is part of a shrine and an altar that's a focal point for prayer and meditation.
Hmm.
So you got two different dynamics. One is that if you have a shrine that can be activated by a priest and brought to the level, spiritual vibration level, for them to be able to get in and pray, give offerings, and watch for manifestation. You want to be able to watch for manifestation and see that it is manifesting. Okay. We actually are having a lot of that, but how to activate it is um, offerings as well as prayer. Okay, so
Um,
that's the best way.
okay. My question then becomes, what can you do if you don't have a shrine for Egun, but you just have a focal point of most people, well, a lot of people have just a regular altar to their ancestors. They don't really have a shrine. what would you say that they can do to,
They can pray and leave offerings for the shrine.
okay, okay.
Okay, that's still, it's still prayer and giving offerings at the shrine. The difference with a priest doing it is it's about edge blood. Okay,
Yes, yes,
being
yes.
able to do those kind of offerings, that type of offering, and make that shrine at its most highest peak in order to help that person's prayer get where it needs to go so it can start doing the work that's need to be done and manifest what they're asking for.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a higher vibration.
Right.
But for those who don't have the shrine, I would also suggest, as you come before your altar, that you call out the names of your ancestors. Call them by name uh, to that focal point, that altar where you're going to pray and give offering. I would also suggest that you prepare. I know it's your bell. Is that your bell, yeah, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
uh,
wrapping up anyway, yeah. So no worries.
yeah.
Talk to you tomorrow morning. Sorry.
I'll also suggest that you, when you prepare a nice plate of food, depending on where you come from, it could be your greens and your hogmos and your. I know we talking about being vegan and eating raw, but there's still some of our ancestors like that pig's feet, and black eyed peas or whatever they used to eat that they really loved. You cook a pot of that, and a little rice on the side. They come from the island, give them some peas and rice or whatever, and put a little plate of that, nice clean plate. And if you have a plate that's chipped, that's the best thing that you can use. The other thing, now this is important. We all like, even our grandmothers, they like to have a little glass of whatever they have, rum, scotch, whatever it was. Give them a little spirits, a little liquor. And the other thing is our grandpops, they like to smoke a cigar or a pipe, or we had those that smoke cigarettes. We don't do it now, and they said it's bad for your health, whatever that is. But our ancestors did it. So give them give them the things that they used to really love, you know, and say your prayers and your sacrifices. And let them know that you've come before, why you came before them.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I was saying, I don't know if you heard, let them know why you are there before them so they
Mhm.
understand that at this time, we're again trying to secure our rights as a nation, as a people. And they know that struggle because they were part of it. So you put that before them as well.
No, absolutely. That's one of the major things that you want to be able to do and to be clear about your intention. It's also good to call upon ancestors of good character
Mm,
when you're
mhm.
calling for spirits to come in because you want to be careful. You don't want a spirit that died in confusion to
Mm.
come and sit.
Mhm.
Okay, because part of our job as not even just as a collective is to raise that elevation of that spirit's conditioning. Okay, we don't want JoJo the drunk to come because he left here as a drunk. We want that grandmother, that great grandmother that was the spiritual holder of the family.
Right
Priest
on.
holder does not always mean that they are a priest, but they had priestly ways. Well, priests also of your family lineages, you want those priests of good character to come as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
you can call those. So because you want good counsel.
Yeah.
Okay, you want good results when they come.
Mhm.
You want them to be able to do the work that's going to be healthy for them, okay, and healthy for all of us.
That makes
Because
Mhm.
we're we're asking for that level of protection, so we need to have some good spirits that know how to get it and get it to them.
Exactly.
right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you call on Uncle Jojo, who was the drunk, uh, if you put down the liquor, you might come back, it'll all be gone. So leave, leave, leave Uncle Jojo out.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
made a good point, though. I mean, it makes sense to me. That you have to be careful who you call on. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I've been at Ben Bays, and there've been other people there, and we start talking about ancestors. I kind of get my feelings because I don't want to see they slave holding ancestors showing up.
Mm-mm.
I just don't want to see. I barely want to see them. Like their descendants. So
Yeah.
that's very real.
Hmm.
That's very very real. Is there? So let me. This I feel this is gonna be the last question. I gotta get out of here myself. But that is a conflict for me when I see other people entering African spiritual systems and all of that. And in the reality that we're in, this is the physical, but we know that there's a spiritual world. And so
Hmm.
those people are pulling on those ancestors who were not good to my ancestors. How do you uh
Balance
Balance.
it.
yeah, like how do you just because that's really hard for me. I don't want to see your great grandmother. I don't want to see your grandmother. Hell, I don't want to see your mother. If they
I
was
want to see you.
Okay, but here's the other side to that. Okay,
okay.
because I always mention that we look at history compartmentally. Okay.
Mm,
We look at the last 516 years here, but we don't look at the 504 years that we controlled Europe.
I get
Okay. So we have to also, we weren't, anytime you're in control and in power, you can't, sometimes we're not always that nice. Nobody is. When you're talking about power, we're talking about human beings. Okay. No, I don't want to always see those spirits that were trying to knock me down and knock my family down. Okay. But at the same token, maybe they don't want to see me either. Okay. As being knowing what my nature is and always has been. Okay. I could imagine what I was like thousands of years ago. Okay, this didn't just elevate to this, where I will snap you up, and there was a time I would take the axe off the Shango shrine and go after somebody in a heartbeat. It took me a long time to calm this person down, and to get into perspective about what was my real job here. So
mm,
when you start talking about, you have to have intention. What are your intentions in a ritual space that you want to do to bring forth spirits that are going to help and protect, not instigate and cause more problems?
gotcha.
Okay. And do the people that are calling them, can they see? Because a lot of people are calling on spirits out here and they can't see what they calling into the space.
Right on.
Mhm.
Okay. So how do
Mhm.
you do that? Okay. Oh, I got me a spell and I'm gonna say this 3 times and I'm gonna click my heels and I'm gonna call this spirit into here and they're gonna do what I tell them to do. It ain't a genie. This ain't genies. This ain't that kind of world. So
Mhm.
we have to be very careful about what we are doing in that world, knowing what you're doing. That's why I keep talking about, and I might sound like a broken record, but it's
No.
like I done seen some stuff, okay? And I'd like to put the bottle cap back on it, after I have seen that. There's some things
Mhm.
we have to be mindful of that
Hmm.
we're calling in, okay? So we have to be ritually intentional and
Mhm.
saying, if I'm gonna call Ogun into this, I'm also going to have the mediumship. to be able to send that energy back in a
Back.
peaceful way.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So we have to do that. I too have a problem when I'm calling into to a space, even when I'm doing work here. Um, People that come across this threshold to get, to get readings or to get work done, I got to deal with the spirits that are on them. So I have to deal with protections at the door
Mm.
before they even come in here, because I don't necessarily want that spirit that's on that person that's negative to sit in my living room for a few hours.
Right on.
If he was like that in his living life, what makes you think I want him in here and he dead? No. So I have protections that will strip that off of them before they get in here. Okay. So again, we got to be intentional about that. I do, when it comes to, you're going to have feelings that say, I don't want to see these people in my, coming into my life. I got to fight all this other stuff out here with their relatives, their descendants. Okay. So I don't want to see that. But then again, we also, from the confusion, that let me throw some more confusion. We got some of them relatives too. Okay. We have some of those relatives in our line as well. So are we elevating them?
No, I'm not. No, no,
Okay.
no. I call people by names. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay. But
But I get you though.
let's go back to Kindred and Octavia Butler.
Right on. Right on.
Because
Right on.
had she not had that relative, okay,
Right.
she would not be.
That's so
So
true.
we got to look at that, okay, and what that, because we're, that's why EFA is for everyone, but EFA is not for everyone, okay. EFA is on what is truthful
I
and
get
what is righteous.
right on. It's like saying
Okay.
this for all, but not everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, y'all, this was great. Thank y'all so much. My sister joined on and she was like, this like listening to my mom and my aunts.
Oh.
That's a real compliment because I used to let
Yeah.
them talk all the time. I would be
Yeah.
listening. I wouldn't even be commenting. I would just be listening.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot when you listen.
Yes. Hi, Khadijah.
Yep. that's who that was. So y'all, we'll be back on again tomorrow. Thank y'all for tuning in. And ladies, y'all hold on. I'm gonna give y'all some information before we leave out. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank y'all. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, hold on. Yeah,